All right, welcome to the first episode of On the Moon podcast. This is the setting. This is how we're going to the moon, and yeah. Why on the moon? I picked on the moon because I love smoking weed. Why do I love smoking weed? I love smoking weed because it keeps me grounded. I feel like I personally do have a little bit of a temper problem and anger issues. We can get into that in a different episode. But me personally, I get irritated easily. So the first thing I do when I wake up is I try to smoke, and I don't try to go overboard ever, as I hit a Puffco full of that good Zaw hash and flour banana punch. So that's how we're starting it off, bitch. All right, so why on the moon? I love smoking weed, and I am obsessed with the moon. I really enjoy the moon in all of its beauty. The folklore, the fairy tales, the stories in all cultures. There was this song called Chanda Mama that my grandma used to sing to me when I was little. And yeah, that's still just a memorable song to me. I remember her singing to me, and like while I'm like looking at the moon outside of our house and stuff. So yeah, that's the moon is very special to me. There's more to that I will get into, but yeah, why on the moon? Another reason is because I wanted people to be able to come and smoke weed, take a shot, do whatever the fuck they want. I'm heavily inspired by Joey Diaz, Theo Vaughn, and Joe Rogan. Those are like the three dudes podcast that I watch constantly. And Joey Diaz was the first one that I got into back when it was the church. Man, it's like life was a different time then, and it was like during COVID. So like experiencing COVID with Joey Diaz and having him like kind of just be there for me, that helped a lot, because he would give a lot of tips. He would tell me to like, not tell me, but tell people to like, keep your head clear and shit, because this shit will fuck you up. And I'm glad I listened to him, because I feel like a lot of people did get fucked up from COVID. But yeah, I want people to be able to come on here and just be free like that. This is my room. I'm literally doing this out of my room. And if you see me touching the camera, that means I'm just resetting the screen because it'll black out. But anyway, this is in my room. I'm comfortable, I'm free in my own space. So once I'm ready for guests, then we'll figure that out. But yeah, this is a free space for me to be myself, talk about my art, talk about myself, talk about what I want to do, what I've been through, how I want to help people. That's another thing with On the Moon. That's probably like my main focus, is like I want to tell my story, and hopefully people can maybe if they relate to it, they could see some parallels, and like yeah I want to help people. So we'll just start off who I am. I'm Sanjay Sharms, Beta the God on Instagram, BETADAGOD. You can follow me or not, whatever. But yeah, we'll just start from my childhood or like family background. My grandparents came here in the 80s, the early 80s, from Fiji. My parents were like 10 to 12 years old. They grew up in the 80s and the 90s in America, but that was like their first experience in America. I don't know if that makes sense. Like, they couldn't go to my grandparents and be like, for advice. Like, all they knew was the island life. Like, my family was broke. Like, they lived in the boonies. And yeah, my grandpa's a real one, man. Shout out to him. His name is Ram Lakhan. Everybody knows my grandpa. I tell you that. Like, if you're Indian and you live in my hometown, or Fijian, you know my grandpa, and you know my great grandpa. But we'll get into him later. But yeah, he worked hard. He brought all his brothers and sisters to America from just working at this cannery job, and he's a big inspiration to me, man. Shout out to him. He's in the hospital right now, unfortunately. He had come down with the flu. But he's gonna be good. He's a super strong man. He's gonna be good. But yeah, my family, my parents are super 80s, right? And then they had me pretty young. My childhood was 50-50. That's how I like to explain my childhood. So I had one side that, had the money, which was my mom's side, that my grandpa that I'm talking about, that came from Fiji. And then I had my dad's side, which was a little bit more like, on the under middle class side. You know what I mean? My grandma's doing good now. My grandpa had unfortunately passed away in 2006 on my dad's side. But yeah, so I had the 50-50. Like, my dad's side was pretty like hood, and then I had my mom's side, which was more like upper class, like people will say whitewashed, like upper echelon, like, you know what I mean? Like, there were chandeliers in my mom's side grandma's house. It was just like a different upbringing on each side. But I had 50-50. That's how I like to explain it. So I could relate to a lot of people, I feel like, more than others, because most people, I feel like, had only one, or like 70-30 of each. Yeah, so that was my upbringing. Me and my dad never really got along. I feel like that was something that really affected me in life. It still kind of does. Like, I don't talk to him right now, and I don't plan on talking to him. But how that came to be, he was a very abusive father and husband towards my family. And then I grew up kind of not really understanding that until I got older. And I think it was probably because of the smoking weed. I just started thinking differently. And yeah, that's something that affected me hard. It affected me. It was a lot of trauma, like, and I think that's where my anger issues and temper comes from. And I'm trying to be open as possible on this podcast. It's, it's my podcast, so I'm trying to help people. So if you relate to this and you ever need help or anything like that, DM me and I can help you as much as I can. You know what I mean? But if not, then I will help you try to get professional help if that's what you need. But anyways, yeah, my dad, we never really got along. It was rough with him. You know what I mean? If you ask a lot of Fijian kids growing up, even him, like, he had not the best upbringing with his dad either, but it's just how it kind of goes in a Fijian or Indian household from my parents' era to my era. I feel like a lot of people went through that same thing in my culture. How it affected me, the anger issues, I really was a lot of I was a rage kid, you know what I mean? Like, I would put holes in my wall as a kid and stuff like that. And I was just all over the place, like, I didn't want to be home because my parents, they did split up when I was beginning of high school. So that was 2012. I mean, the years really, I don't know if the years matter, but anyways. Yeah, 2012, they split up. It was always rocky, you know what I mean? I think that didn't affect me until I was 18, until I got out of high school. That's when I realized, okay, that had a huge effect on me. But I didn't think about it. I was never a kid that thought about anxiety, depression, or mental health, or how things affected me from the past, or how things will affect me. We never had that conversation in my family, and that's just something it is what it is, with my family. There was never no conversation. There still isn't really. But once I started realizing that there's mental health, there's actually ways to figure out your own mind and all that. I just got really interested in the human mind, and then I figured out that there's this thing called psychology and all this shit, you know what I mean? And you can there's trauma and all this shit. So I started looking into that, and that's where I found out that I have a lot of problems, or I feel like I've grown a lot, and I still have a lot of growing to do. But the ways that I've helped myself, besides smoking weed, that's not for everybody, obviously, is meditation. I think meditation has probably been my number one tool for helping me with any type of trauma or any type of thing that I'm dealing with, whether it's a long-term thing that's been bothering me for a while or just something during that day. Meditation will just instantly, well, not instantly, it took a while for me to even get to the point where it feels like it's instant. But I started meditating in 2018. I just got super into it. I used guided meditations, and I will say right now, I don't sit down and meditate. I always lay down and meditate, and sometimes, yeah, I do fall asleep, but it's just what I do. I've been doing it forever. I lay down and I meditate. I have a happy space or a happy place, whatever you want to call it. You can, okay, so for people who want to try to meditate, try this. Sitting down kind of gets hard unless you're more comfortable sitting down. Try laying down, whatever is comfortable to you. Even in a chair, a chair could be helpful too. Make a happy place in your mind that you can go to whenever you want, even when you're not meditating. It could be anywhere. Mine is on an island. It's at this it's like at the corner of a beach. I get to just lay down in the sand while the water washes up against me and goes back and forth in the tide. And there's a beach, there's a forest, whatever. That's my happy place, and I just chill there, and I go there in my mind. I close my eyes, and the thing you want to focus on after the happy place is your breath. You know what I mean? Deep inhale, deep exhale, and focus on the moments in between the breaths, in and out. That moment is probably the most peaceful moment of all time, and you can tap into that whenever you want. On a bus, put your headphones in your house, at a park, you know what I mean? And I really focus on those little moments in between my breaths while I am in my happy place, and that'll just put me in the state of meditation where I could just forget about everything. You don't want to think of anything. You want your thoughts, one second. You want your thoughts to be like clouds. You don't even want to focus on them. You just let them pass. You might see them, but just let them pass. Just whatever you think, let it pass. And yeah, that's how I get my meditation down. That helps me with a lot of things. It helps me focus in on something. You can meditate and actually think of something while you do it to get maybe a deeper understanding, you know what I mean, of what you're trying to get done, like a project or like some type of relationship ordeal that you're going through, like someone that you're talking to, you want to figure it out, or like a big business deal, yeah. So that was my childhood. It was a little bit traumatic, but at the same time, I'm telling you, it was 50-50. I had it, and also I was really loved. I was the first grandkid in my family. I think my parents did love me, and I did go through a lot with them, my dad, but outside of my house, I was very loved. Everybody loved my parents, and so it just trickled down to me. Everybody was like, oh my God. You know what I mean? But yeah, let's go jump to elementary. Elementary was cool, whatever. Let's go to middle school. Middle school was cool. 6th and 7th grade. I went to Prescott Junior High School, one of the toughest high schools I think in California, probably to this day. They have a military PE program, and I know that sounds crazy, but it's super beneficial. I think every middle school should have that same exact program. I don't know how that works with the programming of the schools and all that stuff, but if you can look into Prescott Junior High School physical education program and how they do the PE there, and I hope they still do it the same way. My parents went to fucking Prescott, so yeah, Roadrunner for life. Yeah, it was cool. That's when I tried to be cool. You know what I mean? That was the cool era. It was for me. It was Nike socks, Jordans. I did play flag football, but it was I wasn't. It was for my dad. My dad loved football, and I was always trying to follow his dreams before following my dreams. We'll talk about that a little bit. Yeah, so I was into football, but it was because of my dad. And I think the more and more me and my dad kind of were just growing apart, the more I kind of distanced myself away from football. I did, by my senior year, I didn't even want to play football anymore. And yeah, I actually didn't. Yeah, I actually stopped playing football my senior year. I was into smoking weed. That's really what I got into. And we'll talk about the whole weed and balancing that with work and life later. But But yeah, middle school, we're just trying to be cool. It worked out. I had some cool friends, but then I wasn't smoking weed in middle school. I started smoking weed my sophomore year, second year in high school. So that was 2013, 2014 for me. Yeah, so high school, it was all football for me for the first 3 years. But then the second year in, weed started coming in to my life. And yeah, I started smoking hella weed. And weed in general, because I live in California, so weed in general was just like easy to get, you know, not just for kids, but just for everybody. Like dispensaries started opening up, and you can get your medical card, I think sometimes at like 16 back then. I don't know if you could still do that, but people were getting it at like 16, 17, being able to go to the dispensary in 2013, 14, 15 and just buy just the strongest weed, because they didn't have no limit back then, I don't think, in California for any type of THC, because you could buy those Corova edibles, 1,000 milligram edibles, bro, as a fucking high school student in Modesto, bro. That shit was crazy. Like, kids were fucked up at my school. And I'm not saying that to be proud. I'm just saying, like, that's what it was at my school, you know what I mean? People were high. And then 2016 was my senior year. And 2016, if you are familiar with the rap scene at all, 2016 was Lil Uzi, Kodak, 21 Savage, Lil Yachty, fuck, man. All the Lil Peep, you know what I'm saying? Lil Tracy, all Goth Boy Clique, all fucking Suicide Boys, XXX, Raider Clan, all them. They were all just getting high as fuck, and they would say it in their music. And all the kids were listening to that shit. And everything, like, man, everybody was getting high. The Zandemic, all that shit, that was some real shit. Yeah, so after high school, let's see. Well, let me talk a little bit more about high school. High school, I had fun. I was never involved in any of the, like, extracurricular activities, like, no leadership. Like, I didn't give a fuck about none of that shit. Besides football, I did football. I didn't really play that much. I don't even think I played, like, probably more than 3 plays. I'm going to be 100% honest with you. Like, I did not play. I was on the team, and I practiced, and I actually did practice, and I was fit. I was still a little chubby, but I was, like, fit, you know what I mean? Like, I had conditioning in me. But then I started smoking weed, and I was like, well, fuck football. Like, I don't want to do this shit. Yeah. I smoked weed. That's literally, like, I feel like all my high school, bro, was just, like, smoking weed. But then I got into music. I got into music a little bit at the end of my sophomore year, like 2014, 2015. That's when I got into making beats. I found out about Metro Boomin and 808 Mafia. Those were, like, my 2 original. Oh, and Travis Scott, man, and Kid Cudi and Kanye, obviously. Those 5 right there were, like, my main inspirations when I first started out, like, learning how to make beats on FL Studio, which I'm using right now to record this podcast. I will do tutorials. If you guys want that, drop that in the comments. And like and subscribe while you're here. If you made it this far, 20 minutes in, shout out to you. I love you. Yeah, I started making beats. I was making music with, like, other friends, you know what I mean? Was getting really, like, into art, and also really into science. I was literally just watching Neil deGrasse Tyson, Richard Dawkins, I think, his name is something, Krauss, Richard Krauss, I believe. They're all great scientists. I would watch them literally just every day, all day. If it wasn't that, it was just music, like learning how to play guitar, learning how to play piano. Oh, shout out to Mr. Davila. That's another way I got into making beats, was my senior year piano teacher. Man, he would literally let me learn my own songs instead of the book, because I was just on my own shit. Like, if you're familiar with indigo children, I feel like I am an indigo child. I'll make a whole separate episode on that. But I was just doing my own thing, and he would let me learn my own songs, and he would test me on the songs that I would learn. Because we all had laptops. My school was I think my sophomore or junior year, 2014 or 15, my school was the first and only school at the time to all give every kid a Google Chromebook. Now let's talk about that. That was insane. I think that changed that changed everybody for the worse. Yeah. Yep. Because there was kids playing fucking stupid games, watching dumb videos, you know what I mean? Video chatting all throughout class. Like, what the fuck were they thinking? Like, I understand, like, you want people to be educated, and intelligent on the computer. We're already in that world. Like, everything is just online, on the internet, on the screen. But that was crazy. That was the craziest shit. Like, the high school I went to was a hood school, bro. Like, man, there was probably kids that took that laptop the first day and just bounced. Like, literally. Fuck, that shit was crazy. I feel like I really did not like that shit. I really did not like that shit at all. The only thing, it replaced the book, so you didn't have to really use a locker. You know what I mean? But then, like, people were breaking them, and, like, yeah, that shit was crazy. Yeah, if you went to Davis, drop a comment. If you were in that first year, because I know a lot of people still follow me from that time period. If you experienced that, what was like your favorite shit that was not school related to do on the laptops during class? Because I know everyone did it. I was on the game and the video chats too, but like, I mean, shit, man, I passed. All right, senior year. This is another thing I want to address, because this was like my first introduction to how powerful something on the internet can be, and affect it in real life. So let me explain. Twitter was huge during my high school period, or whatever, like, 2012 to 2016. Huge. Everybody was on Twitter. My senior year, I told this girl she looked like a dog, right? On Twitter. We were just roasting. Roasting on Twitter was a thing, right? But I noticed that people were getting more and more sensitive. Like, I swear to God, I was on Twitter all day, every day. That's what I did. Like, I was on Twitter. I was an internet kid. People were getting more sensitive, and it was towards my senior year where it was pretty much like peak sensitivity. Like, people were just like, you could not say shit on the internet anymore, like, at all, to anybody. Like, you would get canceled, or like people would flame you. I got flamed. I just added this girl. I'm not gonna say her name, but I told her that she looked like a dog, and I posted a picture, right, of her and a fucking, like, a pug or some shit like that. She got pissed, so she confronted me at school and she slapped me, and I didn't hit her back. I pushed her off me, and then that's it. You know what I mean? I don't know if I got in trouble, but I didn't go to school for 2 days. So I might have got in trouble, or I don't know. I just didn't go to school for 2 days, right? And then I didn't really think much of it. I was like, it was pretty big. Like, obviously everybody's fucking talking about it. There's a fucking video, all that shit. It's just the fucking beginning stages of, like, something going viral in a town. Not like super viral, is like inner city viral, right? Like, every school knew about it. Every high school knew about it. Everybody knew about it. So I fucking went back to school after 2 days, and bro, that's like the first time I ever really felt like true, like, anxiety. And I don't think it was paranoia, it was like more just anxiety. Like, I just felt like everybody was like looking at me, like everywhere I walked, like, oh, that's the kid, blah, 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 right? So that, like, really got to me. So I pretty much just stopped going to school, bro. Like, I really just could not take it. Like, my fucking head was like, fuck. Like, it was like anxiety attack after anxiety attack when going to school, really. And that's my own fault. I'm not blaming nobody. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's my own fault. I take full accountability for saying that girl looks like a dog, And I have talked to her since. It was like 2 years after that whole incident. I did apologize, and, like, we talked about it, and everything's cool. Like, whatever. But during that time, I was not taking it well. So I stopped going to school. I pretty much, like, damn near dropped out my senior year in 2016. And then I had to go to this thing called G230, which was a continuation school. And I only did that because my fucking family, was getting calls from the school saying, like, oh, he's not going to walk the stage and this and that. My bad. I'm just making sure it's still recording. Yeah, so he's not gonna walk the stage, and bro, like, not walking the stage in high school in my family, fuck, bro, I was a fucking disgrace. So I was like, fuck, bro, I guess I gotta fucking do this. So I went to I did the G230 thing, and it's time for another one. 25 minutes in, it's a record for me. That's fire. So I went to the G230 thing. I did that. I think I did it for 3 months. 3 months, and then I passed. I think it was literally like 1 or 2 days before my deadline. I did it. I walked the stage. Oh, and another thing about walking the stage, let me hit this. Mouty, you motherfucker, shout out Mouty from the fucking 420 video. Boy. So he's a barber, and he was my best friend during high school. And I still talk to him. He's a great fucking person. Literally one of the best barbers in Modesto. I swear to fucking God. I still get my haircut from him. We'll have him on the fucking podcast one day, I swear. Alright. This dude was my barber, and he had this great idea to literally just buzz cut me, bro. I swear to God. I think I had a comb over or a little mohawk. I had, it was there was length on top, bro, and I loved my hair. This dude buzz cut me, bro. A 3 on the top. I was like, what the fuck? I was in disbelief, bro. And then after all that anxiety that I went through for the slap, going back to school, and like everybody knows about it and shit like that, and it's on the internet. That's like what really made it like well known, at other schools and shit. And I had friends at other schools, you know what I'm saying? So everybody knew about that shit. So yeah, that fool gave me a buzz cut, but thank God we had the graduation cap on. And I look back at it now. I'll try to pop a picture up right here. It wasn't that bad now that I look back at it, but at the time, bro, I thought it looked so stupid. Bro. I did not want to take the cap off. But yeah, that was a funny story. That's definitely a fucking traumatic, memorable story for me. Fucking Mouty. But now he hooks me up. He makes me look like a fucking god. So it's like, whatever, you know what I mean? Yeah. And that was my high school. I fucking walked the stage last minute. G230, shout out. I don't remember any of the fucking teachers' names, but they were cool, whatever. Yeah. Let's see. So that was 2016. I graduated. 2017, 2018, and then 2019. Those 3 years, we're at 30 minutes. We're about to be. I think those 3 years, 2017, 2018, 2019, those are my 3 years after high school. We're going to do a whole separate podcast on that. It's like the Who Am I series, I guess. That's what we started. But yeah, we'll do that. Those years were some fun years. Some not really regretful. I did waste a lot of time, but I was having fun. If you know what I mean. You can't always have fun. You gotta lock in. Gotta lock in. And I wasn't locked in, but man, if fun was something I was locked in on, then I was doing good. But yeah. Anyways, I'm fucking reminiscing right now. Thank you for watching. This is the first On the Moon podcast. Tell me what you guys want to hear about. You guys heard me. I told a little bit of my story. I'm going to be telling a lot more. I want to help you guys. You know what I mean? I want to entertain you guys. I feel like, I have all this, I have to have the shit to do it with. So I'm going to use what I have to do it. You know what I'm saying? And before it ends, if you have something, coffee, tea, blunt, joint, puffco, whatever it is, grab it. Please grab it. And if you're not on nothing right now, grab a glass of water. Stay hydrated. You gotta fucking drink water. Toma agua, drink pani pio. Yeah, this it seemed like a solid episode. I hope. I'm gonna hopefully drop it ASAP. It is today. The date is 6/28/2024. First On the Moon podcast. I've been waiting years to do this. We're gonna go a little bit over 30 minutes just for the outro. But yeah, the next episode, it's gonna be 3 years after high school. That's what I'm gonna explain. What else? Oh, merch drop. Rich Loners is dropping soon. Fuck Instagram shirts. Dropping soon. Whole bunch of items, man. Cheers, cheers, cheers. Whatever you guys are enjoying right now. Hope you guys are having an amazing night. Or morning or whatever, whenever you're watching this. But yes, thank you for tuning in. Follow me. Follow None Lifestyle. Follow On the Moon Podcast. Yeah. We're going to try to push these episodes out. I have finally got a setup that's just easy. I can just press record. The mic's here. I can edit like as soon as I'm done. I'm excited, man. I don't know if you guys could tell, but like I really there's like a fire inside me right now. And I just can't wait to just like show you guys like what I can do. Cuz I have a lot of shit coming. Like I'm a hard worker. Like I'm really doing this. Like all the shit that I do, you guys are gonna see because of this like not new setup as well, but like I just have this new system, man, and I really think it's gonna work, and I hope you guys enjoy it. Please leave a comment and subscribe and all that. Like let me know what you guys want, and I will do my best to dish it out. On the Moon Podcast. Thank you very much.